Mark is a business owner, writer, and volunteer at CARA, Chicago Area Runners Association. There's a bunch of you guys here. Woo! Awesome. This is insane. He actually updated his notes for us. It used to say 26. Now it says 28. He has completed 28 marathons. That's 28 more than me. Give it up for Mark.
We are taught that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, that there's a beginning and an end. Endings give us perspective and experience, but we don't often pursue endings. Why? Because we like beginnings. I don't consider myself a runner, but I have attempted and completed 28 marathons. They're all like this. I get nervous in the start corral every single time listening to confidence argue with doubt in my head. I know that fear is doubt winning that argument. All marathon courses are 26.2 miles. The shortest distance from start to finish is known as running the tangent. This is how you survive a marathon, moving forward at any speed possible. What are the greatest accomplishments of your life? And looking back, how often have you thought, if I knew then what I know now? Or what was I thinking? How many times have you felt dissatisfied with those accomplishments because it wasn't quite what you expected, because it felt like it should have been more, even when you couldn't figure out what more was? Sometimes we feel guilty for wanting more. So we take the path of least resistance and eventually realize going through the motions makes us feel frustrated, uninvolved, detached from our lives. Frustration is the time and distance from where you are to where you think you should be. I think it's also because we're afraid to admit what we really want. We've all heard, be careful what you wish for. Wishes are beginnings with no direction. Starting at the end lets us imagine what has already happened, and hindsight is always more informed. If you have a goal, any goal, having an end state and getting the tangent to get there can change an idle daydream into an actual achievement. This is not about positive thinking or visualizing or following some magic formula. This is about taking steps towards creating what you really want. How do you find your tangent? 1, make it something you want. That's the end state. Use a positive statement, not a list of things you don't want. It's better to say I want to be healthy or I want to be thin rather than I don't want to be fat. No one planning a vacation says, I don't want to go to the mountains. I don't want to go camping. They say, I want to go to the beach. Even if you never achieve that goal, admitting what you want is liberating. 2, accept objective truth. Positive thinking without accepting reality, that's delusion. Problems are inevitable. There will be some along the way. No matter how well you plan your vacation, you can't control the weather. Running marathons at some point will hurt, but while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. 3, realize that you can't script for someone else. Everyone has their own path. Problem solving and process has its place. It can be documented so it can be repeated. But approaching life by problem solving is like eating cotton candy. Initially satisfying, but ultimately unfulfilling. You can't problem solve your way to a satisfying life. Why? Because if you don't have an end point, you can't find a tangent. You will end up judging progress by how you feel. And emotions are a bad way to measure progress. You can be far away from a goal and feel happy. You can be very close to a goal and feel sad. You can spend weeks or months planning a vacation that is far in the future. But you can also be sad that your flight's delayed and you're hours away from that very same vacation. How will you know when you're on the wrong tangent? If you can imagine the end goal without any problems, it's just a dream. But if you can imagine only problems and not the end goal, it's just a process. There's no greater satisfaction than overcoming a struggle of your choosing. But satisfaction does not equal joy, just as frustration does not equal failure. Imagining your future life in the present is imagining the history of your future. Knowing your endpoint will not prevent moments of angst or anger, but you will feel more and feel deeply. You will become more aware of life's possibilities, more engaged with the people around you, and more present in your own life. By knowing the destination, discovering your own process will become self-evident because it'll become apparent. No matter how your tangent appears to the outside world, there is nothing more fulfilling than being immersed in a life you find interesting. And isn't that an end worth pursuing? I'm ahead of my slides after all this. I hope you find your tangent. Thank you.
Your job is to keep clapping until the slides are over. Woo! Who's inspired? I'm fucking inspired. I'm not gonna go run a marathon, but I'm inspired. I'll watch a YouTube.